The Terraria Clicker class mod is one of my favorite and most unique modded classes in all of Terraria. And that's because in order to do damage, you actually need to click your mouse every single time. Now, initially, this may be fun. You get to click your enemies and kill them from like far away, but as enemy health pools gets higher and higher, you'll need to click more and more. But overall, this is a very unique experience for your forearm to have. But now, what if we added the Terraria Calamity mod? The mod where bosses and health pools are in the millions. The mod where you need to be on your A game to dodge everything. Is it possible to beat the Calamity mod with the Terraria Clicker class? But then on top of that, can you do it without an auto clicker? Yeah, dude, we're playing this raw, man. Other than the items that the clicker class has in game, I cannot use external applications to auto click. Yeah, dude, my forearm is gonna go crazy in this. So let's go back to the very beginning, where clicking enemies was a much more simple venture. We start off our humble beginnings in the Calamity mod, where we're given our wooden clicker. If you're unfamiliar with how this class works, basically you have this like radius around your character, and as long as an enemy is inside of it, you can click it and do damage. I mean, so far it's pretty simple. I mean, I guess we're doing pretty decent damage. We're playing on revengeance. It can't be that bad. But dude, as someone that doesn't go outside, it was a little bit more harder than I thought. Now, some of you guys are probably aware, but the clicker class actually only goes up to Moonlord. So how are we even going to beat post Moonlord bosses in Calamity? How are we going to fight Escal? How are you just going to click a million times, Adrian? But what's really nice about this mod is that someone has actually made a clicker class extension. So now as we go through the regular clicker class and regular Calamity, there's also some Calamity clicker add-on stuff that we can go and look at. So yeah, shout out to Wither Taco, the developer of that mod. Calamity Clickers playthrough would not have been possible without you. Give him a thumbs up, everyone. Thank you. Thumbs up, thumbs up. But so far in the early game, we went ahead and crafted the golden clicker. Now, this is our first introduction into clicking abilities, where every couple of clicks, you actually get a very unique ability for each of the brand new clickers. So for example, our gold clicker, if we click 8 times, we get an extra click for that extra little damage. Now, for now, the clicking abilities aren't crazy good, but eventually later on in the game, we'll get stuff that homes, that does explosions, that does all of the cool stuff that we want. But for now, we play like a little goblin in the desert. Right now, we're going into the mines and the caves, of course. We're looking for a bunch of clicker class accessories, and one of them is the enchanted LED. A lot of these clicker class accessories are absolutely essential. Not only are they increasing our base damage, but some of their abilities include lowering the clicker count for your abilities, increasing the total radius that you can do, the damage you can do. And because there's such a small amount of clicker class accessories, we need to get every single one so that eventually, and hopefully by the end of the game, we can combine every single one so that maybe, right, clicking is not going to be that bad. By this point in the game, I had full golden armor. I was feeling real sexy, all right? And since we're playing Calamity, we can go ahead and fight our first boss, the Desert Scourge. And this is where something brand new that I've never had a problem with in my life pops up. A brand new issue in this playthrough, and exclusively only in this playthrough. Not only do I have to dodge everything and deal damage and aim with the clicker, but also I have to watch out for the stamina of my arm. Our damage is pretty good, but in order for me to click efficiently, I need to go in my finger blaster mode. Okay, I'm trying to like play as still as possible so I can click as fast. Okay, slow but steady. Why is there a vulture? Why is there? I'm instant killed. Please heal. Heal. No! I guess I'll put on more HP stuff. I'm gonna go up to the top. Dude, I'm getting fatigued already. I'm getting fatigued. My fingers hurt. Ow. Come on. There we go. I wish I had a hand cam, bro. I'm fingering my mouse so it gets more action than me. Come on. I need a DPS meter, dude. Come on. 330. Take it. All right. With the Desert Scourge done, we can go ahead and upgrade our armor to the Victide armor set. And because we're playing this like Calamity Clicker extension add-on, we're able to... Therefore, we have a Victide like clicker class helmet. But like I said, that first fight, and tell me how my forearm was already starting to hurt. Yeah, it's kind of worrying when the first pre-hard I'm a little bit like twitchy, a little bit achy, but we're not going to talk about it. We want to head over to the Brain of Cthulhu to see if we can kill it. And of course, no, right? Obviously not. But that's all right, because we go ahead and fight the Eye of Cthulhu, which we beat on our first try. No! So like I said, that really big thing about fatigue is really kicking in. And I know this is the first episode. This is the first like hour of me playing, but I'm telling you, it is insane how much your forearm hurts when you're playing this class. Because it's not just like you have to click a lot to do a lot of damage. Oh, Adrian, your forearm is so weak. Woo. It's not just that, okay? It's the fact I have to aim. I have to use the left side of my brain to look at the boss and direct my mouse into it. And it's not like the boss is like sitting still. It's moving around left and right. It's also leaving the radius. So even though we beat the Eye of Cthulhu, my ego was shattered. I was in the dumps, man. I wanted to cry, but that's all right. We were able to craft these sinister clickers, so maybe we're getting a DPS increase, right? Now, as we beat more bosses, of course, the bullet hells are gonna get worse, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for. I know right now the bosses with the clicker class are a little bit boring, but trust me, at the very end, they get so intense. I cannot wait to show you guys. And speaking of intense bullet hell action, I recently found a game that scratches that itch, which is today's sponsor, Acecraft Sky Hero. Acecraft is a fast-paced bullet hell with multiple bosses, intense combat, and is inspired by the black and white rubber hose 1930s animation art style. My favorite part about games is 100% boss fights, and Acecraft is absolutely filled with them, with each stage designed for quick and speedy matches, which means that I can play a bunch of them in my free time because they're fast, convenient, and every run is different, and you can just pick them up at any point in the day. So believe me when I say that Acecraft is a nice addition to your day, because dude, I can complete my 5-minute run while I'm out waiting for my food, or if I'm in like an editing break. And if you're out with a friend, it's even better because this game has co-op, baby. So you and your friend can play together and relive the golden age of arcade teamwork. I mean, you guys know me. I love bullet hells, roguelikes, and especially games where you could parry attacks, because not only will you be dodging for your life, but you can also parry attacks to make combat even more addicting. You see those pink bullets? Whenever they get close, just release your hold to absorb them. Then all you got to do is press and hold again to unleash an even stronger counterattack right back at the enemy. And every successful counterattack just feels so incredibly satisfying. And overall, Acecraft is just a fun and refreshing game to dive into. It really helps me out whenever you guys check out the sponsors of my videos. And if you play right now and finish your launch missions, you can get up to 100 pulls to unlock more characters and support units. And right now, there is a special Tom and Jerry crossover event. So make sure you don't miss it. So yeah, once again, folks, check out my QR code or the link in the description to get Acecraft Sky Hero for free. Let's fly together, laugh together, and play together in Acecraft Sky Hero. So yeah, thank you so much to Acecraft Sky Hero for sponsoring today's video. And thanks to you guys for checking out the sponsor. And yeah, let's get back to the video. Well, that wasn't enough for me because by the second episode of my playthrough, I went ahead and farmed a bunch off camera, including getting the clicking glove. With the clicking glove, we're now able to get an extra like click automatically, I believe every like 2 seconds. So it's like a really weak auto clicker that the game gives you. And it's not really helpful. However, you know, I needed to find a way to maintain my stamina. We also went ahead and talked to the merchant to buy the cookie. The cookie is an accessory where it will pop up somewhere in the radius of your clicker. And if you click it, it gives you a boost to your HP, your damage, your range, if you click it on time, which we don't do often. I also went ahead and got the Pearl Clutcher, which I believe was like the Victide armor set like clicker. So maybe, right, maybe we're doing a little bit better. And so because of that, we go ahead and fight the Brain of Cthulhu. Usually a little bit of a trouble for me depending on what mod I'm playing, but for now it should be simple. Right? It wasn't that bad. I was clicking on the wrong person or the wrong Brain of Cthulhu several times. However, because I, you know, completely had a brand new episode started up and I was like playing like completely fresh that day, my hand was ready to go, dude. I had that stamina clocked in at 110%, all right? You'll notice that a lot of these bosses aren't even hard. It's just my forearm is getting hard. Wait a minute. My forearm has a lot of lactic acid buildup, so it's hard for me to click really fast. But anyway, because we killed the Brain of Cthulhu, we're gonna go ahead and craft some brand new Crimtane armor. And with that, hopefully some Hellstone. Now, normally I don't immediately go for Hellstone because, you know, I like to go get some Skeletron stuff. I like to go into dungeon and whatnot. But the thing is, we need it, all right? We kind of need it. The Molten Armor, we need the Red Hot Clicker, we need all these upgrades because not only are we getting more damage, getting more defense, but we're saving the stamina of my right hand. Okay, this guy's on life support right now. Luckily for us, the Goblin Army came ahead and we were able to slaughter all of them relatively simple. But with every passing second, a stamina is being lost and my ego is getting sadder. There's a couple of accessories that I'm keeping my eye out for, specifically something called the milk. If we can get milk, we're able to combine it in our Tinkerer's Workshop with our cookies to make the milk and cookies. And there's a lot of clicking class accessories that we specifically need to find either in pre-hard mode or like as soon as possible, because if we can get them early, then we can build onto them. We can build like a tower of clicker class progress. So that's why I went ahead and fought the King Slime. Not only did I want to get the slimy saddle, but I want to get something called the slimy keychain. But of course I didn't get it. So we're gonna go to the dungeon. I went ahead and took care of the perforators really quickly because the perforator hive kind of just hovers above you and it's perfectly in my clicking radius. And with that, we're able to get Aerialite ore. Aerialite ore is fantastic for us because it also gives us an extra armor set as well as giving us another clicker. Right now, our current clicker like repertoire is the Red Hot Clicker from Hellstone and the Sky Point from the Aerialite ore. These two abilities of the clicker are giving us Inferno and something called, I don't know, like Feather Chasing. We're able to not only click 8 times with the Red Hot Clicker to trigger oil and get on fire debuffs, but we can then debuff an enemy, and then with our like Sky Point, we can use these like homing explosion feathers. If you look at the Skeletron fight, you'll notice that I'm kind of swapping in between different clickers to proc each of their abilities. Yes, the clicker might have more radius or more damage, but if their ability is booty, then we're not going to use it. However, even if it is a bad clicker, if it has a good ability, then we can just slap on a debuff, use homing, use whatever it is. Some are better for single targets, some are better for groups. It doesn't matter. We need to build a repertoire of more clickers. And that's totally the reason why I died to Skeletron, not because of a skill issue. I went into my mines and I was able to find the Goblin Tinkerer, who not only sells us a Tinkerer's Workshop, but also a mouse pad. Right now, my big focus is to get a bunch of these specific clicking class accessories that comprise the Gamer Crate. There's a couple of items that we need to get from like the Mechanic, the Traveling Merchant, but for now, we continue on and try to beat Skeletron, who at this point in the game is being a certified whooper. Dude, whooper. I hardly know her. There is no amount of, I guess, anguish in my life to describe how hard this boss fight was, because it's not that it's hard per se, it's the fact that he is outside of the clicking radius. Not only does the Calamity rework Skeletron, but because he's flying all over the place going left and right, he leaves my clicking radius. So even if I'm clicking at my opportune and my like best clicking speed, like 10 clicks per second, it's not gonna matter if he's not in my radius, so I can't even do damage. And after a couple more attempts, dude, I gave up. I could not do it, not only because I just wasn't hitting it and just dying over and over again, but my hand was getting tired. And so the next day rolls around, where with a brand new hand and forearm stamina recovered, I was able to defeat the Skeletron boy. I'm done. It made me so happy. But this boss fight, like, it genuinely wasn't extremely hard, but it's more so to showcase the effects of my forearm stamina. And so with access to the Mechanic, we're able to find the last ingredient to craft the Gamer Crate. This was one of the key accessories of the Clicker class, because not only does it combine a bunch of like clicking class accessories, but eventually we can even upgrade this. But in general, this thing is giving us more radius, more damage. It's giving us some Clicker class like benefits in terms of like clicking effects. Like every, like I think 12, we get like a clicking effect. I don't remember what it was, but it's very important for us to get as many clicking things as early as possible, because not only is that going to save us stamina for our forearm, but that means we can face Calamity bosses even easier. And of course, one of the bosses that we're having troubles with is the Wall of Flesh. Yeah, our radius is way too small to be hitting it. At this point in the game, I already defeated the Slime God, so I had the Slime God Clicker class armor set. But the problem is I wasn't able to hit the Wall of Flesh at all. He was outside of my radius, and even if he was in my radius, there's a bunch of Hungry that are pushing me back. So not only do I have to be super close to do damage, I'm taking a lot of damage up close. And so with that being said, I went back to a regular clicking class armor set, the Motherboard armor set, baby. This was crafted out of wires and silver, I think. And this clicker class armor set has the unique set bonus of being able to place kind of like a clicking range extender. So you can right click outside or at any point of your like circle and have an extra range buff. And with that, I also crafted the Slob Commander. Oh no, the Blob Commander, oops. This is a Slime God clicker item that you can craft. And also I went to my dungeon to get a shadow key to find the Umbral clicker. These two brand new clickers have some very unique effects that I'll showcase later on, but for now we still had a couple of items to get because I really wanted to min-max for the Wall of Flesh fight. I ended up finding out a recipe for something called the Influence Potion, which increases your base clicker status. And I also went ahead and started crafting some lava accessories, or lava fishing accessories. Yeah, I'm going to go fishing, and there's a reason for that. We needed to get an item called the Hot Keychain. There's a group of items that are clicker class accessories called the Keychains, and one of them was from King Slime, but we didn't get it earlier, as you saw. But the next one that we can get is the Hot Keychain, which has this extra ability of kind of giving you an extra fire hit or a fire click every couple of clicks. The problem is though, you have to keep clicking non-stop or else it starts burning you up and killing you slowly. So it's perfect for high DPS in a short amount of time, and that was perfect for me in terms of Wall of Flesh. And so after dying several times to Wall of Flesh and like literally seeing no hope at the end of the tunnel, I went ahead and went downstairs to give him one more shot. With the Motherboard armor's extended range, with the Umbral clicker having homing abilities, and with an increased clicker radius from our potion, and the Molten Keychain doing extra DPS, finally, after in terms of recording, this took me an extra 2 weeks to do. In a final stand of whether or not I should continue this series, I was finally able to kill the Wall of Flesh with the clicker class without destroying my forearm and make it into hard mode. I don't even care. It is quite simply way too hard to describe the amount of euphoria and the amount of nut I creamed out of my paints when I defeated the Wall of Flesh. Not only whenever I fail a boss am I losing the boss fight, or I'm losing HP, or I'm losing time, I am losing like muscle cells in my forearm. It was genuinely painful sometimes to keep playing with the clicker class without using an auto clicker. And after reading like a bunch of comments and people being concerned if, you know, maybe I should use an auto clicker, maybe it's just better, or maybe it's just impossible to beat this without an auto clicker, it was such a spiritual uplifting to defeat the Wall of Flesh, my first big hurdle, with no auto clicker. But at the same time, this comes with the most daunting revelation of, wow, that was a vanilla boss, and we're going all the way to the end in Calamity. This will only be getting worse. Another one of the struggles that I was having in the clicker class playthrough is that there's not a defined guide for Calamity and clicker class at the same time. There is like an official clicker class guide, but in terms of like Calamity clicker add-ons or like Calamity clicker gear, and with all of the Calamity accessories, I didn't really know the proper and optimal way to use accessories or the optimal way for what clicker I should be using for what boss. So a lot of this playthrough was just trial and error of what to do, as well as the devil whispering in my ear, just use an auto clicker. But now with us in hard mode, we're able to get a bunch of brand new clicking accessories, including a brand new armor set and hopefully some brand new weapons. The first thing I wanted to get was the brand new armor set, which comprises of crystals and rainbow brick. And after farming in the hollowed for a decent amount of time, we're able to craft the brand new RGB armor set, which has one of the coolest set bonuses, where every 20 clicks we get a chromatic burst from the cursor. As we click, not only do we have our regular like clicking buffs or clicking effects, but now we have extra clicking effects from all of our accessories. And so we try on with our brand new palladium clicker and the umbral clicker on the destroyer. Because the destroyer like bunches up in the start of the fight, I was thinking that maybe if I just click that part where he bunches up or like kind of try to penetrate that part, it would do a bunch of damage. And my initial observation was indeed correct. We could do a lot of damage on the destroyer, but it was still kind of difficult. We are playing the Calamity mod, and as the clicker class, yes, we do a lot of damage in exchange for like our stamina, but still we have to dodge. And with bosses getting harder and harder, we need to dodge more and more and more, and sometimes it's a little bit harder than you think. But with enough tries and with enough patience and enough forearm workouts, we're finally able to take down our first mechanical boss. Since we're playing Calamity, we now unlocked Mithril and Oral Cum Ore, and now we can progress the next stage and hopefully get better gear. The thing is though, I had my eyes set out on the Queen Slime. Normally, I don't fight the Queen Slime, but the Queen Slime does drop something, an accessory specifically that we're going to need. I tried out the fight initially to see if I'm able to do like enough DPS, to see if I can kill it early enough, and I got really close, but it still wasn't enough. So I went ahead and did something that I normally don't do, and that is go through Drayden's weaponry. Normally, I save this for the very end of the game when I go through and do exomex, or like maybe I need like a specific weapon. Usually it doesn't happen a lot, but it turns out there is something called the clicker drill that I really wanted to try out. This was a Drayden like exo weapon thing, and a really fun fact about these weapons is that you have to like charge them with like batteries and whatnot, so it's really cool. But I was under the impression that this could do a decent amount of damage, or maybe, you know, maybe it doesn't, but at least I have like a different clicker that I could maybe see the effects of. Right now my current clicker repertoire was the Ichor clicker that I picked up, so now we can inflict the Ichor, but still I needed like a better one for DPS. And oh boy, was this clicker a beast. This handheld clicker drill from the like Drayden exomech recovery whatever weaponry stuff had an insane clicker effect of shooting out a drill that burrows into an enemy and does consistent damage over time. Not only do you have high clicking damage on top of that, but now with a like very much high consistent DPS, we're able to kill the Queen Slime, but also get the item that I really wanted. And that was the final ingredient to get something called the Master Keychain. The Queen Slime drops something called the Crystalline Keychain, which kind of gives like crystal shards whenever you're clicking, I think every 15 clicks. But now with the Master Keychain, we can combine the Slimy Keychain from King Slime, the Molten Hot Keychain we got from Lava Fishing, and now the Crystalline Keychain to make one final keychain to use all of the effects with. And so with all of this, we're able to go ahead and take down our second mechanical boss, Skeletron Prime. After a quick break after the Skeletron Prime fight, because my arm was getting so tired, I went ahead and fought the twins. This was a little bit harder than the other mechanical bosses, simply because the twins are flying outside of the radius of the circle, and personally for me it was really weird because the twins are either usually the first boss I defeat or the second boss I defeat. But anyway, with that being said, we now have defeated every single mechanical boss. With that, there is a brand new armor set we can craft called the Overclock armor set. This requires hollowed bars and souls of every single mechanical boss. With that, we can also get a bunch of brand new clickers like the Arthur's clicker, which is like a hollowed clicker, and this clicker had a very cool effect of doing like a burst of like holy damage. So it was really easy to farm Destroyer, as Destroyer clumps up and you could just easily just do a bunch of damage for like tight knit like worm bosses. I still died though. But anyway, we craft the Overclock armor set, which has the unique ability of having Overclock, which is an effect which I believe is a set bonus effect where after 100 clicks you can do like an insane clicking streak or a bunch of clicking damage. We also upgraded to the Regal clicking glove, allowing us to get an extra auto click every 1 second, and things were looking up until we fought Plantera. I started farming for a different clicking accessory called the Box of Paper Clips, which drops from the mechanical bosses, and after fighting the Destroyer a decent amount of times, we got it. This gives a burst of gouging paper clips to fall off of like an enemy after a specific amount of clicks, basically improving our DPS. And the reason why I started farming for it is because Plantera was just really, really hard. I was extremely lucky in my Plantera fighting attempt, where I was able to time my adrenaline and clicking and my stamina was like decent enough to like achieve a decent CPS. But this fight was so unbelievably hard because of the dashing, the amount of projectiles on screen, and on top of that, I had to make sure that I was aiming my mouse at it at all times and clicking it as fast as I can when my mouse was on Plantera. Plantera in the Calamity mod has like a dashing ability, and it was just absolute hell. I had so many attempts, but finally we were able to defeat Plantera. Yes! There's truly something undescribable of spending 30 minutes on a boss, clicking away and just killing your forearm with no progress until finally, because of adrenaline, you can do it. With access to the Lizard Temple, we make a brand new Lizard Clicker and a Lizard armor set called the Precursor armor set. This armor set had the really cool ability of like leaving after images of your clicker, therefore increasing your DPS. Now, before I fought Golem, I kind of went ahead and fought all of the Calamity bosses that I just skipped. Eventually, we do need all the materials to craft like Auric Tesla armor. So I went ahead, and because of these brand new clicking accessories, I was able to defeat them first try. The problem is though, even though they were like bosses I had to fight earlier in the game, they still had some type of difficulty because, dude, I'm telling you, it's a stamina thing. Like, my hand was dying at this point. I went ahead and also defeated the Calamitous clone really quickly. And at this point in the game, we had a bunch of really cool clickers. We had the Lizard Clicker, we had the Terrablade equivalent clicker, and something called the Feral Clicker, which is basically an upgraded Ichor clicker. But I also went ahead and found the Shimmer biome in my world. And not only did I get like the shimmered regular benefits, but I went ahead and shimmered a cookie to get the heavenly chip for the clicker class. I got this item recommendation from a comment, and this thing was insane because it increased my base clicker range by 10%, meaning we can hit from further away and safer. Our first stop before fighting Golem is Leviathan and Anahita. Not only is this fight a little bit more easier than Golem, but also we can get the Community, which is an item that will give general buffs to our class. So even if we're not having specific clicker accessories, we're still going to get like a general boost to damage, health, movement speed, and it gets stronger the more bosses we kill. Unluckily for us though, we didn't get the item, so we head on over to the jungle anyway and fight Golem with our brand new clicker. But we have a brand new clicker from the Leviathan fight, which is the Distant Melody. We're able to do a clicking effect that leaves like the Leviathan notes on the ground, and it was really, really good. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but for the last 3 boss fights, I was able to get a brand new accessory that made clicking way more easier, and that is the Scouter. This aim assist module Scouter thing allows me to auto aim onto bosses and click them, meaning that I can just focus on clicking and not moving my mouse to the boss. The thing is though, it's really, really bad for bosses that have multiple like body parts, like the Golem's head. So what was supposed to be a buff is now a debuff for us. And since the Golem is giving us so much trouble, I decided to go out of my little thinking box. And maybe, since our AoE and clicker class is so strong, what if we can fight the Astrum Deus? In fact, if we could fight it, we can just kind of skip Golem entirely in a way. But would it be possible to do that? Wait. We can do this! Wait, this is the perfect use case scenario for the aim! Come on, focus on the circle. Click as fast as I can. 9 clicks per second, 5,000 damage per second. I mean, this is easy though. This is easy. This is the first phase, right? Nothing too crazy. It's split. 7,000 damage. This can work. I can totally do this. I can do this. I was born for this. This class was made for this. Holy flight speed. It's like negative. My Mothron wings are not doing me justice. No. Stop. What am I doing? No. Okay, wait. This is more possible. This was the exact thing that I needed to keep on going. Golem was a real obstacle for me because not only mentally did I have to be like, oh my god, the bosses are so much stronger. Now I have to do more damage and use more of my forearm muscles. Oh no, I'm gonna run out of wing flight. Yes. Okay. We have solar fragments. We have them. We have it. It's in our back pocket. Did I get the clicker? Please give me the clicker. I got it. Oh yeah. Now we're balling, baby. But killing Astrum Deus gave me the courage and the will to keep on going, because if there's bosses that are way more better with the clicker, then who's to say that won't happen with things like DOG? And so we take to the jungles with our brand new Cosmic Star Clicker. We're able to basically do a mini Star Fury attack. And with this, we are able to dominate the Golem fight. And with us propelled into re-lunar events, it was time to ramp things up a notch. The next fight was Lunatic Cultist. I know there's a bunch of Calamity bosses that we can do, but hey, if we can skip some bosses, I will gladly do that and go backwards if I need to. The thing with the clicker class is that it really does excel in single targets, depending on the clicker, of course, but the Lunatic Cultist was light work. And now with the lunar event started, we are now going to get a massive jump spike in our power, because now we have access to the Mice Fragments, which are basically the lunar equivalent of the clicker class. And with that, we can make 2 brand new clickers, the Mice Clicker and the Astral portal clicker. These clickers made it so unbelievably easy to take down the lunar pillars, as they're much more AoE and like a laser focused effect, if that makes any sense. And after handling all of the pillars, the Moon Lord finally shows up, and we're put to the test of what we can do with the elite mice clicker. I decided to pick this thing because this guy had not necessarily homing, but the projectiles follow your mouse, and if you can actually position your mouse a little bit behind your avatar or in front of your character, you can directly guide them into the Moon Lord and easily take him down. The thing is that we're not playing regular Terraria, we're playing Calamity, baby. So the Moon Lord has a couple of buffs specifically to his lasers. They actually persist even if you take them on, and because of that, we lost the first round. But that wasn't an issue for us. I know I got weaker as my arm clicked and clicked and clicked. The forearms were atrophying, but let me tell you, today it was a good day. I was heated up, I was juiced up, maybe I had an extra cup of coffee, but I was going crazy. My forearm was so warmed up that I was able to defeat the Moon Lord on my second try. My hands! Do you know what I've done with these things? And with that, we are now in the post Moon Lord era. Things were going great for us down the clicker class. We had a huge power spike. We got a celestial onion for an extra accessory slot. We got a brand new Lord clicker. Things were going crazy. But here's the thing. Little did I know, it was only going to get worse. After taking a break and getting on the next day, I went ahead and got all of the brand new lunar armor set. Meaning we now had a clicker class lunar armor set. And with my hand finally fully rested up after a full day of sleeping, we can now tackle all of the Calamity post Moon Lord bosses. But of course, before doing the Profane Guardians, which I really do hate, the meatballs really do kill my soul, it's time to get a couple of brand new accessories if we can. The first thing I wanted was the lunar clicking glove. I went ahead and pinned that recipe onto the bottom right of my screen, and also the bloody chalk and chips. These two upgrades to our accessories were not only pivotal in increasing our DPS, but also would free up some extra accessory slots because they would be combining pre-existing clicker accessories that we were kind of like making space for, if that makes any sense. And so we got building down in the underworld. With a couple of city busters and a long platform, we're able to have an open space to safely and hopefully defeat the Profane Guardians. And just judging by this so far, the fight was going kind of smooth. We had the auto aimer, it was going really nice, our damage was really high, and oh wait, I might be targeting the wrong thing sometimes. Yeah, so like I said before, the auto aim clicking module thing that I had sometimes would be working against me. In this case specifically, not really, like it's targeting the right guardian that we have to kill, but later on for some more boss fights, it's gonna get a big problem.
The commander, please! Commander, please!
So yeah, I was kind of still dying, so I went ahead and got the normality relocator, so now we can actually teleport. Oh yeah, also the brand new clicking armor set, the set bonus allows you to teleport. So we had 2 teleports, baby. I also went ahead and crafted a brand new clicker called the Veranda. And this thing kind of had like an AoE barrier type of damage effect, which wasn't bad, but the thing is, like I said, it's going to be a reoccurring theme, but I don't know the exact best clicker to use in every like case scenario. So I'll usually be testing these things and then dying and then testing and then dying and then testing and dying. But finally, after hours of painstaking muscle spasms and missed phone calls, we're finally able to take down the Profane Guardians. There really isn't a pain in the world that I can compare to this, other than maybe when you touch yourself for too long, but this was such a hard, and I mean a hard fight, and it's just the Profane Guardians, man. Immediately after this, we go ahead and start up Providence to see, hey, maybe we have a chance. And to my shock, we actually do really well. I'm talking about the first try we did, we almost defeated it. The problem is though, I've been clicking non-stop for almost like 7 minutes. Okay, it's gotten bad to the point where I have to pause my screen. Pausing it! I need to pause it to wake up my hand from the eternal slumber that it is to try and fight back. And you know what? It kind of worked initially, but here's the thing, right? Whenever you pause, right, you're kind of losing that like muscle memory that you've been doing in the fight. So I died! So instead, I decided to go back and retrace my roots and start farming the Wall of Flesh. Turns out the Wall of Flesh drops something called the Clicker Emblem, which is like your class emblem. And if you get it with Menacing, you can get a flat 19% increase to clicking damage. And so, baby, we go back to the Providence fight, and let me tell you, even though my forearm was hurting, my forearm was aching, I still give it all my all, and this is what happened.
Oh my gosh, my arms, dude, it's burning. With the pain of defeat! Come on, give me a adrenaline, baby. Come on, baby. Yes. Come on. Come on!
They always say don't judge a book by its cover, and even though I am so dead tired, you can look at it in my face, my soul is gone. Believe me when I say it, that was the craziest dopamine hit I've had this entire season of Pokemon Go. I was absolutely ecstatic. With the spoils of the Providence fight, I made a brand new holy golden clicker. I mean, like, when you have more than 2 adjectives, you know it's gonna get crazy. This clicker had the ability to summon a ray of God's light. We're talking talking about a vertical beam of light. But now with this, triggers a whole bunch of other Calamity stuff that I will probably do off camera because I don't want to mine it, you know, on camera. It's just too much work, okay? And so I played a little bit off camera. I made a bunch of brand new like health upgrades, including the elderberry. So now we have 675 HP. And I also went ahead and farmed for a bunch of WMITF bloom orb to make some Tarragon armor set, which is the brand new like Calamity upgrade, right? It is a regular Calamity set, but because of the Calamity Clickers mod, we're able to put on the Tarragon clicker helmet. So now we have a clicker bonus with it. And this thing was absolutely essential for the next bosses, not because it's like a later armor set, but also because of the set bonus. With every click that we do, we're able to build up a damage resistance and a defense meter. I'm not sure how the specifics goes, but basically the more you click, the longer you do it, the stronger and tankier you get. And as someone that doesn't necessarily have the best skills in dodging, this was fantastic. And so I went ahead and started working on the Devourer of God servants, which were kind of a joke, honestly. We do a lot of damage, and as long as we just never ever get hit, which was not that hard, you can just dish out a bunch of damage and get the fight over with in a minute. Except for Ceaseless Void. The problem with Ceaseless Void is that even if you kill it really fast, you need to wait a solid 15 seconds before it dies because, I don't know, it's like a rotten mango. You have to let it die. So I decided to go ahead and fight Poltergeist. Poltergeist is basically a blue ghost Plantera. That's like the best thing I can describe it. But the reason why I wanted to fight Poltergeist is because it will drop a clicker that has infinite range. Initially, I thought that, hey, infinite range sounds delicious. I can go ahead, run into a cave, hide, quiver, and everything will just die. That sounds fantastic, right? No, it's not. I don't think I've ever used it, but hey, I'm still doing the fight. This fight wasn't so bad, really. It genuinely wasn't that bad. The only problem that I had during this fight was whenever it went into like the second and third phase where it like sprouts a brand new red head. So then my like aim assist clicker module would like auto target onto that. But other than that, the fight was relatively simple. But anyway, before fighting the Ceaseless Void, I had a brand new collection of clickers. Two of them were from the Poltergeist fight, and one of them was from the Providence fight. I'm not really gonna explain all of them simply because I'm gonna be replacing them by the next boss. But just so you know, one of them has a homing attack, which is really cool, and the other has an AoE attack. So you can kind of see the formula I'm following here. And so we fight Ceaseless Void, and that wasn't very fun. There's 10,000 of that. Let me illustrate a point to you guys. All right, imagine you killed a boss 5 times over, right? Because that's kind of its mechanic. You have to dodge everything. You got to make sure it doesn't die, and there's a lot of projectiles. But now imagine there's a boss that's shooting almost 50 projectiles at you at once, and you have to survive 15 seconds before it dies. What do? Do you get upset and cry like me? Or do you start counting like me? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi. I was at 13, god damn it! 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi, 21 Mississippi, 22 Mississippi, 23 Mississippi, 24 Mississippi, 25 Mississippi. And now, with a tired and weary soul, a soul ready to be just put to sleep, like euthanized me, really. I'm so tired. Of course, I decided to do the next logical thing and take a break. A break from relaxing, because I immediately went into DOG, baby. Yeah, so not one of the brightest things you could do. First of all, DOG is one of the hardest fights that I struggle with, not because, you know, not because I'm bad at the game, but really it's just because I'm you know what? I don't even have anything to say. The DOG fight was a lot of, I guess, trial and error, because if you guys are aware, there's not like a definitive guide on what gear to use for the clicker class that's in Calamity, which is a mod made for a mod made for a mod. You get the idea here, right? So as I'm fighting this boss, I'm constantly going through and cycling between different clickers and different accessories until I could find the right one. The problem is, though, there was a couple of other things and a lot of factors that have quite literally actually ruined my entire experience of this game. You'll notice that you can see my DPS on the right corner of my screen, and you can also see my clicks per second. Now, if you've actually like been paying attention this entire time, my average clicks per second is like 8 to 10, but sometimes you'll notice that it is actually capped at 6 to 7, and you might be wondering, oh, Adrian, you're just getting tired, right? I get it. A brother gets tired, right? A brother gets tired sometimes. But no, turns out I was actually limiting myself this entire game. In my final run, that actually was the one where I defeated Devourer of Gods, I ended up having a key couple differences. Number one, I had 2 brand new clickers, the Bellatrix, which is an abyss clicker. This thing had like piercing projectiles that like absolutely shredded DOG's HP. And I also had the Bio Injector, which was a Exomex Drayden weapon. It requires batteries and like power cells to charge it, but the unique effect of it is that it can heal you for 25 HP for each syringe you click up. The problem is that I did not know that the Gamer Crate, one of the accessories I had a hotkey for auto clicking. I don't think I've ever used it in my run, but basically if you have it clicked and toggled on, it will cap your clicks per second, and that's what I had on sometimes. That key just so happened to be binded with my adrenaline key, so every single time I turned on adrenaline, it would either turn it off or turn it on. That's why my DPS was fluctuating so much. Oh my god, I hate my life. But yeah, if you guys are going to be playing this mod, please don't make the same mistake that I did. Anyway, with DOG done, which by the way took about, I think, 5 hours of my life. I'm just not showing all of that footage because I screamed a lot. I went ahead and started doing the Frost Moon, Pumpkin Moon, what's the other one? The Solar Eclipse. These are all going to be dropping some brand new items that we need to make a bunch of the post-DOG gear. The first thing I made and tested out was something called the Dimension Ripper. This was a Cosmolite bar clicker, and basically the set bonus is it shoots out these like knives that follow your mouse. The problem is though, even though I had like my auto clicker thing, like the auto aiming, auto clicker, whatever build that I have going on, the knives actually followed your actual mouse and not like where your auto aimer is at. And that's going to be a real big problem because eventually with some of these bosses where you're flying across the screen at Mach 2, you need to have your mouse on them. And you know, the aim assist module is supposed to help you mitigate that. Like you're supposed to focus on clicking, not aiming. So I already knew that I had to replace this clicker somehow. But now we start making our way to Yaren. We go ahead and do a really quick fight against Dragon Folly. I like to save Dragon Folly for this phase because it kind of makes me feel a little bit better of myself. It feels invigorating to kind of see the spoils of like your hard work. After killing Dragon Folly, we went ahead and crafted a brand new Drayden clicker called the Fusion Pointer. This thing was an absolute beast. It has this ability where it shoots out like these sparks out of the clicker, which doesn't sound insane on paper. However, the damage was through the roof. We go ahead and challenge Yaren for the first time. And I had really bad feelings about this fight. I mean, come on, like it's gonna be flying all over the place. We're gonna be, you know, we have to be somewhat close to do damage. And trust me, it was hard. It genuinely was so difficult. My forearm started like convulsing from like my blood veins fighting back. I felt like the white blood cells were not on my side today. The amount of lactic acid that was building up in my forearm was so comparable to like, I can't even describe it, dude. I'm like getting sick thinking about it. My first attempt at this fight was going pretty well. I was actually keeping decent distance. I was doing good DPS. The thing is though, I still died, and I expected to die. The thing I didn't expect though was my final actual attempt that I defeated Yaren, that it would take an additional 10 more tries until I was able to finally defeat it. And let me tell you, 10 more tries, it's not a lot for like endgame bosses, but 10 more tries, each taking 5 minutes of your life and each costing about 300 calories, it kind of does hurt, okay? It does. And so with Yaren defeated, and now we have access to Auric Tesla ore, the final 2 bosses, Escal and Exomex, remained. And so of course, to do what any sane person would do, I went to go ahead and try to sleep and wake up the next day with a fully fresh mindset. And that did not last long because as I laid in bed, I kept thinking about it, so I got back on. I cannot begin to explain the amount of euphoria and dread that I had going into this final episode of the Clicker class. I truly do cut out a lot of moments from my second channel videos simply because I want this to be a more condensed version and show you guys the highlights in the boss fights. But I genuinely mean this. The amount of pain and suffering that my soul and my hands has gone through is so, like, it is so insurmountable. I don't think I will ever play the Clicker class ever again. But anyway, we went ahead and crafted the Auric Tesla armor set, the final armor set, or should be the final armor set of our journey. And we also crafted the Seraph Tracers. Now with our armor being at the pinnacle of what it could be and our wings being at the pinnacle of what I should be, but I also went ahead and started getting some of the end game clickers. I got the Elite Mice Catalyst clicker, and I also crafted the Clicker Nova, 2 amazing candidates for some final clicking action against Escal and Exomex. These 2 weapons were large AoE, stars flying everywhere, making my PC crash. I mean, it was crazy, man. But finally, we go off and fight the Exomex. I trust my auto clicker aimer. It's hitting the Skeletron Prime. It's hitting his arm. Oh, no. So yeah, we're kind of in a little bit of a problem. The Exomex, because Exoskeletron Man has multiple parts, I couldn't hit him. So he went to Escal instead. Dude, there's so many projectiles. I can't tell which ones are mine. I know mine are blue, but it's so distracting. Ugh.
Another bullet hell? Jesus. Damn, I got far. Dude, the hardest part about that fight is looking at it. Yeah. Ugh. Yes. Ow. Did I do it? I think I just did it. Well, folks, that was Supreme Calamitous. I don't know what to say. I really don't. It was just way more easier to focus on a single target that time. It just clicked. I hate this. No pun intended, baby, but it clicked. All right, at the last moment. The thing is, though, whenever you beat Exomex, you only get like the exhuming thing, exhume, but you can't make like any like cool gear unless you have like miracle matter from the Exomex fight. So it didn't really help us. We did get a brand new clicker, but the clicker wasn't really substantial enough to justify using it. I believe it was double the damage at the cost of using 20 HP. Doesn't matter. I went ahead and fought the Exomex. Oh man, that hurts. 32,000 damage, huh? That's not really high enough. It's not as high as like the other clickers that we're using. So maybe I don't use it. I don't understand what to do in this phase. What the? Did they update the exo measures on that? I think I killed him. All right, sick. This phase I am not familiar with. It's so interesting. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why is there gas outside? Oh, God. How do I dodge this, by the way? Oh. Nothing, bro. I'm getting out of here. Marvelous. Your abilities up to this point have captured my interest. Dude, my hands are tired, man. I'll tell you that. Blast machine, max firepower, the twins. Oh, no. No, 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 out of the, out of the. You think you're at max firepower? So am I! Ugh. I'm clicking as fast as I can! 10 clicks per second! I am the clicker champion! Yes! There it is. Oh my God, there it is. There it is. There it is. Dude, I don't even know what happened after that fight. I'm not gonna lie. Oh. And with that being said, the clicker class is now complete. Obviously, there's a lot of other things we can get, like demon shade armor and I don't know, like the exo clickers and whatnot. But I'm not gonna lie, I've been working on this non-stop for 2 weeks straight. So I think I'm gonna call it there for now. If you guys want to see some post-game stuff, like in Wrath of the Gods, where, you know, it's not mandatory and I don't think the compatibility is there. But when I get to it, I'm telling you, give me some time. All right, I'll get to it. That'll be on my second channel, so you guys can check that out whenever you guys want. But yeah, that is the clicker class in Calamity as Kel and Exomax defeated. I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to do Wrath of the Gods and put it in this video and just have like some extra footage for that, but it turns out my forearm actually hurts so much that I had to have several heat compresses over the week. So yeah, it's safe to say that this class took more than a mental toll on me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry for missing out on the Wrath of the Gods stuff. I will revisit that hopefully by Silk Song. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and it's been Adrian, guys.